Howdy, folks. This is Windy City Thetan Watch here. I'm going to go over a video that we did. I think this video is 2 years old, but it just kind of demonstrates Scientology's tactics as well as their safe pointing with police. So we'll talk a little bit about what that means in this space. So when we talk about safe pointing, it's Scientology's way of making themselves look like productive members of society. So one of the things that they'll do is they'll bring the police in for meetings and they'll sponsor little leagues in their name and they'll put trophies up in their way. So what this process is, it's called safe pointing. And we're going to see that occur. We're going to see Scientology make up some stuff to talk to the police about. The police will inevitably have mixed and wrong opinions as to what the law is in regards to what's going on at this point in time. The police are going to explain to me what a potential crime could be, and then I'm going to have that crime perpetrated upon me by a member of Scientology. And when the police come, they're going to say, well, we don't see anything there. There's nothing there to talk about. So today we're going to review Memorial Day about 2 years ago. So this starts with, I walked up to the organization. I got there early before the org starts. So by the way, if you're just joining us, please like, subscribe if you're not a subscriber. Subscriptions are free. So something that people maybe don't know in YouTube is that subscriptions are free. So I walked up to the Scientology organization with the expectation to be able to chalk. And we had gotten kind of a ruling from the police a couple of weeks earlier that, hey, chalk is okay. We can chalk. Chalk is not, it's legal to chalk. It's a way of demonstrating a First Amendment right in the freedom of speech in that space. So I was going to the org and I was going to chalk at the org. So I want to bring on a clip, and again, you'll see this. This clip's it's a little bit aged, but we had plenty of activity this day. I think I was online for about 8 hours this day, just because of all of the activity that was going on in this space. So the first thing I want to do is I'm going to move to 831. Which, so I start by just chalking. So I'll just play this a little bit. Let me know if you can hear this. All I'm doing is scratching chalk, so it doesn't matter if you can hear it or not. I'm going to put on here that, right, hey, you're entering a cult and that Earth is considered a prison planet by Scientology, and that's just part of their doctrine. Now,
I'm using purple right now. I don't think that this is...
So with their doctrine, it's the idea that as you go clear in the organization, you'll realize that many trillions of years ago, Xenu, the galactic warlord, had overpopulation, and he took all the bad people, he froze them like popsicles, put them on DC-8s, flew them to I can't remember, it starts with a T, but the name of Earth back then was Tilaguma or something of that nature. He put all the people in a volcano, and then he used atomic bombs to blow those people up. Howdy, J-Bat, great seeing you. And having blown those people up, they become what we now realize as the little buggers that get attached to you and are called Thetans. Okay, so that's kind of the origin story of Scientology. Well, and not the origin story of Scientology, but the origin story of how we got to Earth. Okay, so that's what I'm going to kind of type here on the front sidewalk. Just above the C, you can see a caulk line, and it extends from that wall, and then you've got where the doorway entrance is. There's what, a foot, an 18-inch recess. That is Scientology property, and I know very well that I cannot cross that caulk line that's sitting right there. So just above the C, in the direction that I'm facing, yep, that's out of bounds, and I know that, right? We're going to hear a little bit about that as we move through the video. I'll be warned several times not to do something I haven't done. All right, let's move over to It's right about here now. Going to move it up just a little bit so that I can see when the person who's going to confront me comes out of the front door of the org. And at the time that this person comes out, I'm going to get an interaction from two different people. So as we, oops. So I'm going to hit play. The person that's going to come out is the DSA of the Chicago org. Now, OSA is the Office of Special Affairs. They kind of do the nefarious tasks of Scientology. They're a centralized organization. They're based out of the PAC base, which is out in the Hollywood area, and also Hemet is Golden Era Productions. But that's where the vast majority of the leadership stands in that place. Now, there's another nexus of important Scientology elements, which are down in Clearwater, Florida. That is really where you go to take lessons and things of that nature. We have most indications show that David Miscavige spends most of his time there nowadays. He used to spend his time in California. So, howdy, Dave. Great to see you. So this DSA is going to come out, and they're going to kind of talk to me about how silly my efforts are.
How are you doing? Are you mocking it? Absolutely.
Are you a child?
No, I'm not a child.
Being recorded, sir.
All right. So you heard a couple of things here. She said, are you doing this right in front of the church? Are you a child? And then you heard somebody say, how are you doing, sir? You're being recorded. So what's occurred at this point, they've already called the police that I put in chalk on the sidewalk, and the voice that you heard from behind me was the police. So now she's out there calling me a child for putting chalk on the sidewalk, and he's about to approach me to kind of understand what's going on right now.
Yes, it's being video recorded right there as well.
Of course it is.
Is there anything that's a hate crime in this? Are you going to...
She originally claimed that I had perpetrated a hate crime. So I do think it was 2024, Memorial Day of 2024. For some reason, Memorial Day sticks in my mind. It would have been kind of the first warm day back in 2024. And in Chicago, it takes a while for you to want to be able to go outside. All right. So she's the reason they've called the police is they've tried to get me on a hate crime at this point.
To subvert my First Amendment right?
Well, I'm going to subvert it with some water, okay?
I don't know if you heard what she said. I asked the officer if he was going to subvert my First Amendment right, because I have every right to do this, right? This is free speech. And again, the cult of Scientology has every right to propagate their propaganda, right? That's their First Amendment right, that churches are freely allowed to, try to speak to the public. But I'm also freely allowed to speak to the public and voice my opinion in my mind, just the same as they are. She says, well, I'm going to subvert it with this water. And she's going to use water, which, by the way, water on chalk is not really overly effective as an eraser. You need a high volume of water. She's got a coffee cup full of water at this point in time. When you put water on chalk, and especially in small amounts, it kind of sets the chalk. So it will sit there for quite some time. But we're gonna let her roll.
I don't think your church members need to be subjected to this.
It's not a church, it's a cult, let's be honest. So the church doesn't like art. They believe in space fantasy. So we're prisoners of this planet. 76 trillion years ago, that's my bag, thank you. 76 trillion years ago, Xenu captured all of us and put us on this planet. And I'm going to re-chalk.
So she's going to go get more water to erase it, and I'm going to keep on getting more, or putting more chalk down for her to be able to go get more water and erase it. This cop is a little bit befuddled at this point in time. So what she's telling them right now, and this is rather humorous to me. You know what? I'm going to see if I can raise my chair a little bit so that I'm sitting above my banner. I'm just now getting back to the studio. So uh, yeah, and I believe in what definite trouble source is saying here. Now, later on, the police are going to come. So the original statement that this officer is going to make is that, hey, yeah, you can put a chalk there anytime you want to. Later on, a lieutenant or a sergeant, Makarski, is going to come by and he's going to say, no, you can't mark or deface property. And I'm gonna make a fairly vehement statement that I believe that is to cause harm to the property. Right? There is nothing that says I can't chalk this. And even and then I remind him, hey, it's a civil infraction. Give me a ticket. And then he says, well, we'll give you the first ticket, but if you keep going, we'll arrest you. I was like, well, give me the first ticket so that I can contest that and get your butt thrown out of court on your ear. And then I'll stop doing it today. So you'll win today. I'll win in court. And then we'll have precedent set and you won't have to worry about this anymore. But yeah, this is incredibly illegal because she is defacing my speech. She is taking away my ability to speak in public right now. Thanks, DTS. Great to see you. And by the way, I am going to come back over there. It's just that, boy, that's a long ways away from me right now. All right. What she is talking, she pointed up in the air and she told the officer that I used my drone to take photos of their building. And I also used drone to take photos of their old building. So at this point, this building is very, very new. It's only been open for, I think, 3 months. It was early in March. Boy, this might be the anniversary. It was early in March that the organization was opened, and now we're talking late May. So this organization has only been open for that few months. There used to be an older organization up in Old Town in Old Town, and I flew my drone over that as well. But then I will help both her and the police officer understand that neither of them has any standing in regards to airspace.
And we got him on our other building
Yep.
as well.
And if
Just
you,
so you know, Paul Erickson.
thank you. If you could let them know, the FAA controls airspace, not the Chicago police.
So he's trying to look up laws. And by the way, this is the modus operandi for police. I'm not going to say it's the wrong thing or the right thing, but the modus operandi is to, okay, let me look through the legal pantheon to see if I can conjure up a crime that's being committed here. Now, as DTS already said, we already saw a crime. A crime was committed right in front of this person that my First Amendment speech was stolen from me, right, by the Church of Scientology. Right. I would also say that it was a false call for alarm, right? But that we'll let that slide at this point in time. But he's looking up to try to figure out. Very funny, Dave. I'm going to say this works really well for software and engineering nerds, but you're right. And one of the things that that I want to say is that you can get out of it in court, but you're going to have to take I can't remember what it is. You can fight the crime, but you can't fight the riot or whatever that is. But on the street, the police can arrest me and the police can give me a ticket. And I actually want them to give me the ticket because if they give me the ticket, I can create precedent and it makes it a little bit easier for us in the future to basically the next time the police show up for an event of this nature, we just get to say to them, hey, look, the judge said, shut your big fat head up, right? So that, but I will remind you that there is always a risk when you're trying to assert your rights in that they may be violated in the instance. The hope is that in the courts, you'll be made whole in that space, but there's going to be some time and pain in that process. So she said that I've flown my drone. Also, she actually said my name. By the way, my name is Paul Erickson. And from this video on, I felt relieved that I could finally tell everybody what my name was, right? Prior to that, I had been going under a pseudonym, and I tend to still go under a pseudonym, but you can see that, you know, it's Windy City Paul is the way that my moniker has always been on the channel since this particular day. Thank you, Michael, and it's great to see you again. Yeah, you can beat the rap, but you can't beat the ride, right? And that really was what I was trying to do. Now, basically in the United States, the FAA rules airspace. So the police can, the local authorities have the right to say where a pilot can be operating a drone, but they can do nothing about where a drone operates, right? So the FAA controls that particular scenario. And I am a registered drone pilot. I have my Part 107 license, so I'm fully legal to fly a drone over that. And in reality, all it was B-roll. It, you know, the thought or the claim was, oh, people with drones, they're playing peeping Tom on everybody. And I'm not going to say that nobody does that. It definitely wasn't what was happening in this situation, right? It was mostly just to give a different perspective or a B-roll of what was occurring here, and to show what the building footprint of these organizations are at this point in time. Okay, so now incredibly eventful day, in my opinion, that I've chalked. This officer is trying to figure out what I've done wrong. Let's let him roll for a bit. He's trying to call his boss, says, hey, what do I do here, right? What can I do?
Can I have your name and badge number, sir?
In about 20 minutes.
16979 Ramirez. Thank you.
Sorry, I've been away from this.
Doing First Amendment activity.
So he said that there's a guy here, you know, writing on chalk on there, and I'm trying to remind him, you mean this person doing First Amendment activities on the street. So he's trying to figure out from his higher ups what he can do in this scenario.
That's the whatnot.
And correct. Yeah, Michael, I wasn't flying the drone that day. Not
Are you still mocking your reactive mind, or have you gone clear? Are you not going to react your active mind anymore? Your reactive mind?
I'm not going to do that one, so God forbid it would touch this one.
Correct. Yes, that's right. Because you guys like the petty assaults, don't you? Using the police taxpayer.
I'm going to move this up to 2053. I think he gets off the phone right about then.
Anything wrong?
Correct.
So let's listen to what the officer says now, right? So the officer's just now gotten off. I don't have him on camera. And by the way, I'm more interested in her than I am with him, because I don't want her to get close enough that the Fosbury flop or whatever could occur at this point. So I think you're gonna hear the officer talk to me.
All right. So
yep.
To let you know,
that I've done nothing wrong?
Correct.
I just want to let you know that this is okay. And my response was that I've done nothing wrong. And he said, correct. And this should be the end of the encounter, right? At this point in time, the police have found that there is no cause for concern and they should walk away, right? Hey, Elron, how you doing? Great to see you, Dorothy. At this point, the police should now extricate themselves from the scenario. That is not what's going to happen.
You don't write hatred.
Correct.
You start writing on their property.
Correct. The chalk one.
Can't write hatred. Haven't written hatred. Can't write on their property. Haven't written on their property.
The caulk line is right there.
Even from that entrance where that person's standing.
Yep, the caulk line. That's what I said. The caulk line.
That's their private property.
I understand that. You do great CopSplaining. I appreciate that.
So as long as you're not writing anything hatred.
And I shouldn't eat yellow snow, right? I shouldn't eat.
This, I've always liked the when police tell you what you should or shouldn't do, and I want to then always remind them, oh, and I shouldn't do these things either, and I shouldn't do these things either, and that's the fun with eat yellow snow. And I think that I have a couple more here.
Eat yellow snow. It's a bad idea to pick your nose in public. Are those other things that we shouldn't do? I'm just trying to figure out what other things that you're telling me that I shouldn't do, which I haven't done.
I'm just letting you know.
I appreciate it.
I'm just letting you know. I'm not saying.
Because they'll safe point you later. They'll safe point you later. And by the way, it's still not.
I do want to talk about what she just said. Officer, if you come inside later, I'll explain to you the new proposal we're putting before the police department to work against hate crimes, right? Because again, there's this long con about the idea that talking bad about a cult or even talking bad about a church is a hate crime, right? It's not a hate crime. There is nothing that they can actually refute about what I've said. There is no there's no intent to harm. There is no intent to cause any kind of physicality in this space. I'm allowed to voice my opinion. They're allowed to voice their opinion. So that's why when they're handing out flyers, I don't call the police saying, hey, citizens arrest. These guys are putting out propaganda. It's their right. It's free speech, right? But I have that same free speech to help inform those people who are receiving that propaganda.
Not a hate crime. What hate have you seen here? I don't like criminal activity.
So next, I'm going to jump forward to the boss man comes pretty soon. So right now we've got a blue shirt in Chicago. A blue shirt is just an officer. And then you've got the white shirts, which are the sergeants and lieutenants, right? I just want to reiterate what we're hearing from, right? This is a perfectly true statement, right? That nobody likes Scientology is no different than saying nobody likes football, right? There is nothing wrong with saying that, right? It's not I'll say that you could think it was defamatory, and that the idea that, hey, you're now the target of something in this situation, but it's not anything that is heightened to, it's not fighting words. It's not incorrect on its face, right? So the idea that you're saying something about Scientology, and I'll even grant you that if you wanted to call Scientology a church, nothing that's being done here is illegal or incorrect at this point in time. Now, let me jump forward to Sergeant Makarski. He's a fun one. So this is, so now we've got a white shirt on scene.
You have First Amendment rights.
I know that.
He just said I have rights.
If this rises to the level of damage,
Correct. There's no hate in anything that's going on here.
that was my next point. Be careful.
Yep.
With what you write.
Yep.
That it doesn't cross the threshold of the hate speech.
Right.
Because you
And that I wouldn't
talk-
threaten families like
you
that,
didn't
right?
talk- That wasn't a threat. Okay, that wasn't a threat. So it's not
Now he's gonna stand up for Scientology.
insinuate and fabricate.
You don't think they fabricate?
That's not a threat. That statement and interaction is not a threat.
Excellent.
That's what I'm speaking about and nothing else.
The false arrest at Camp Near the other night, that wasn't a
I
threat?
wasn't here, I have
Okay,
no knowledge.
I know.
I'm speaking to this right here, is be careful that you don't cross the threshold into hate speech.
I just want to say, he just said, hey, I can't talk about what happened yesterday. I'm here talking about what happened here. Wait for it. He's going to talk about yesterday.
Understand?
Okay, must maintain a passable sidewalk.
Again,
Fully
he's
understood.
reminding me to do things I haven't done.
And as I explained to people yesterday, one of the individuals that was out here yesterday, not you.
Right.
But
I'm going to
video
rewind that a
was
second.
yesterday, sidewalk.
Fully understood.
And as I explained to people yesterday, one of the individuals that was out here yesterday, not you.
Right.
But on video was pushing the boundaries of what is acceptable as far as someone's personal space.
I fully agree with that.
When you come within someone's personal space too close, they can feel threatened.
I know that the audio is a little bit weak here, but just to reiterate what's going on here. Hey, yesterday this happened. Now, remember, just moments ago, when I told him something that happened yesterday, he said, I wasn't here. I can't do anything about that. What he's now telling me is that, hey, yesterday I saw this and I know you weren't involved. So again, CopSplaining, right? Telling me not to do things he's never seen me do, right, in this process. And what's even worse about this is he's going to say that anybody who feels that their personal space is being violated has the ability to respond with physical violence.
Yep.
They can defend themselves.
I understand that.
So I'm not saying you were involved anyway or have any knowledge of it.
But I like that you're encouraging physical violence as an element.
Well, no, I'm saying that if someone feels threatened,
right,
they have a legal justification to defend themselves.
Right.
You do, as well as anybody
Couldn't
else.
I right now claim that I feel threatened? Couldn't I claim that and just strike you? Because now you're saying that my feelings are what matters. My feeling.
No, they put it on tape.
Okay.
When someone feels threatened,
yep,
and you are in addition within their personal space,
I understand that.
That totality of circumstances,
that makes sense,
can raise to a level where that person is legally allowed to defend themselves.
That makes sense.
Push a threat away.
Correct.
A perceived threat.
Yep.
Likewise, you have the same thing.
Understood.
Okay.
By the way, likewise, I have the same right, except later on we're going to find out I don't actually have the same right.
I am advising. That is all.
I appreciate
I'm not saying that
it. Yep.
you've done any of this.
I don't.
I'm referring to someone.
I saw the video. I saw the video.
They also have videos.
Yes, they do.
So I'm just trying to advise.
I appreciate that.
You're aware that people have personal space.
Yep.
And they're allowed to defend that personal space if they feel threatened.
Yep.
I'm not saying that you have gone that way or not going that way.
And I'll say, if you watch any of my video, one thing I'll say is that I usually tell people I'm staying 20 feet behind people because I don't want to give them that impression that I'm stalking or anything of that nature.
So, again,
right.
Sounds like we're all on the same page. And all.
We're all on the same page. This is going to be great. We have no problems to worry about anymore, right? That everything's been resolved at this point in time. Oh, but wait, there's more. This is something that happened that day, and it's not related to what's going on here, but I've always adored this woman, and I feel so sorry that she's in the position she's in. So what we're going to see is an older female who's going to come to the organization. She's a staff member. She is most likely somebody who does mail reg duty, and that's that she either will handwrite or put information on envelopes, postcards, so on and so forth, to send back out to members to say, hey, we know you haven't been on course lately. You should come back and all of that. So let me kind of skip ahead to there. 55.
Yeah. Ouch. It works that way. Yep.
So I kind of said, how are you today? And she said something to the, something like, just in constant pain, right? But she has a smile on her face. And again, as a person, I adore this woman. So she's going to come up. Her first statement is just feeling, pain. And I'm about to ask her what she does to try to control that.
It works that way. Yep. Ouch. Yeah, I hear you. Do you can you take pain medication for it, or can you do therapy for it? Can you do? Sorry. Can you do pain medication for the back, or can you do therapy for the back?
Never. I don't.
Okay. But even like therapy maybe, or.
Oh, never. I don't take any kind of drugs. Again, a Scientology tenant. Now, there are some, and by the way, hey, Haggis, great to see you. There are some that will tell you that, hey, you can take aspirin. There's nothing wrong with that. And for the most part, Scientology is 100% against the psychotropic drugs or brain equalizing or chemical equalizing drugs that would be used in therapy because they believe that they can solve the problems of the mind rather than what the medical industry is known for 50 plus years, that there are ways to help alleviate the pains that people who are in mental distress are going through. So, and I just want to pull another note up from declared Dave, right? So Jessica is still on TikTok promoting the Chicago org, and she is a very attractive female. You'll notice that I had several interactions with people while I was still in Chicago. They were typically male. They would say things like, well, I just came in to talk to Jessica, or I was in there and I was talking to so-and-so, and then Jessica came up to me and we started talking, right? So that Scientology isn't silly. They understand that, you know, attractiveness is a good selling point in these scenarios. And she really is just there to help show that we're young and beautiful people. You should come and join us. And if the organization feels the need to use me to draw you in, I'm more than happy to do that. So Jessica K, I'm sure that if you search my videos, you'll see that I've got plenty of videos on Jessica and some of my interactions with her. So again, this woman, I just feel incredibly poor for her, right? You know, where is her Social Security? Where is her net that's going to be able to save her so that she could potentially leave Scientology? And I just don't think that that exists for her. All right, at 1:39. So an hour ago, I was told everything I'm doing is fine. It's legal. Don't worry about it. You're cool. Everything is copacetic. Now, I'm going to tell you that I believe that Scientology was on the phone with the Chicago Police Department behind the scenes during this period of time. But eventually, the police are going to come back. So here's our man Makarsky. He's getting off the phone with his.
Right, sir.
Yep.
So there's an MCC municipal code.
Yep.
That you can't deface or mark the public property.
Permanently deface or mark?
No,
correct.
not permanently. Mark or deface.
Okay.
So major point, you know, we're fairly.
So his claim is I've made my point. At which point do I get to say, hasn't Scientology made their point? Can't we send them home now? Right? Why do I have to be done making my point? I can make my point for as long as I want to, right? The reason of protest is to create change, right? And to expose wrongdoing in the universe around us, or things that we see in that state. So at this point now, the officer has said, and he's going to give me the code for what we're talking about at this point in time. But you are never supposed to be done with your protest, right? Now, I'm gonna shade that a little bit in saying, many of you have seen me for the past several years. I'm not a protester who is physically violent. I'm not somebody who is shouting down people. I'm not yelling in people's faces. I'm not encroaching on their personal space. I'm just somebody who's informing people as to what the dangers of being involved with this organization are, right? And that it's going to be an open wallet policy. You're going to be fed lies. You're going to be separated from your family. You're going to be separated from your friends. If the person that you're in any form of relationship, acquaintance, friendship, whatever, you talk to this person, if they are not dyed-in-the-wool Scientology, you shouldn't be associating with them in that process. But just his statement that says, I've made my point. Well, that's a stupid argument to settle on. And it would be sort of like, hey, after you've done we've dumped the tea into the Boston Harbor, did the king say, hey, you've made your point? And then all of a sudden now all of the American patriots decided they would, oh, okay, well, the king said we made our point, so we can stop now, right? That's not how it happens. Protest goes until you get change, right? So, and protest, audit, however you want to look at that. And thank you, Dorothy. I appreciate that you see that. And great to see you, eyes to see. So he's going to give me that I'm violating the law, and he's going to give me the site, and he'll read through it, and it says to mark or deface. And again, I would say that it would be up for the courts. He's going to say, I tell him, hey, that's a civil infraction, so you give me a ticket. And he goes, yeah, tickets work until, we're not going to keep on giving you tickets. I said, well, give me the first one. right? Don't tell me what the future may hold. Do it or shut up, right? So that this is, and again, I'm not a First Amendment auditor, but the idea of arrest me, claim to arrest me, scare me with the tactic of arresting me, or shut up, right? That if you want to, it's the lawyer sending you the note that you should cease and desist or we'll sue you. All that's doing is saying we don't have enough to stop you, so we're going to ask you in an intimidating fashion to stop, right? That's great. I like that, right? So right after he arrests somebody, what? Oh, sorry, officer, I was wrong. You got me. Thanks. I'm free now, right? No, that's not how it works, right? Howdy, Amy. Great for you being here. We're just going over Memorial Day 2024, I think. Maybe, yeah, 2024. So he's going to show me the law. He's going to say, if you keep on giving me tickets, I'll arrest you. And at that point in time, I would have kind of returned to him. Well, I would have stopped after the first ticket because that's enough for me to go to the judge and get the precedent. So move along, officer. But, and you're going to see, I think this is the point where we start seeing 5 or 6 cops at a time, right? Yeah. So Makarski goes inside, and then I'm going to talk to the police that are still remaining outside, right? And we've got 3 people here. By the way, we've got the person on the right, and I hate myself that I can't remember his name, but we've had several confrontations with this guy, and he is a DICK Dolan. Thank you, Amy. Officer Dolan has oftentimes walked the wrong side of the law, has threatened people with things that are not illegal. He is 100% in defense of the Church of Scientology. He will walk into the Church of Scientology, and it's sort of like when you walk into the Dunkin' Donuts as a cop and get your little freebies so that you respond quickly when Dunkin' Donuts wants protection from anything that's going on in that regard, or they need a quick response from the police, right? So Dolan is bad juju. I'm pretty sure that Trashy had an interaction with him. I know that he was somebody that we had interactions with on the opening day protest. I've had interactions with him several times in this particular situation. So he's just bad to the bone and in bed with. But again, let's realize what's happened here so far. I've put chalk on a sidewalk, and a organization which pays 0 money to the police in the form of taxes, pays 0 money to the city in the form of taxes, to the county, whether it's property or income. There is no money. They're a tax-exempt organization. So as a tax-exempt organization, they're consuming all of our tax services or taxed services which exist because of taxability in this scenario. And at this point, we've got 2 white shirts and 2 officers here. You can see the 2 squad cars in the back, right? Is this the right way to spend money in Chicago? There will be people that will say, well, if I wasn't there, they wouldn't be there. And I would also then say, I believe that if another crime was going on, that it should absolutely have a higher precedent than what's going on right here, because there is no crime going on, right? They've come to alert me to the fact that what I've been doing is my First Amendment right for the vast majority of this day. But they're going to spend time and they're going to try to figure out ways to, let's say, twist the story as much as possible to cause problems for me. Okay. So one of my modus operandis that I've always had out here in I'm going to say I agree 100% with this statement. And I know that the people, Audit LA, Haggis, there are several people that are very good about calling into the Chicago police and to writing to the Chicago police, from afar as a concerned citizen watching what's going on in the city. So, that's appreciated. But we don't have CPD meetings. We don't have civilian interaction. There is an organization in Chicago that you're supposed to talk to when you have an issue with the police, and they have oversight in that regard to investigate the police. But at the end of the day, nothing ever comes of that. It's the police policing their own, right? Um, I imagine that I absolutely could sue the city of Chicago for what the police did. And what I'd want to do is do it for $1 because I wouldn't want anybody to pay, right? These police won't pay for anything they've done. But what I'd stipulate is that I want $1 and I want training, right? And until that, or firing. You got two options. You can train these people to do the right thing, or you can fire them, right? But yeah, I'm very confident that in several situations, I had reasonable lawsuits to bring against the city of Chicago. So one of my, I think my claim to fame, if we call it that, but something that I'm fairly well known for is trying to stop body routers from being productive or successful in their process. A body router is somebody in Scientology who will walk the streets or go to a festival, and they will either be sitting at a table spewing propaganda, or they will be handing out flyers. And those flyers could be Way to Happiness, they could be Drug-Free America, they could be the DirecTV channel. DirecTV or Scientology had something to do with one of the Super Bowl commercials. So in 2024, we saw an awful lot of football elements with their come in and watch football with us. Howdy, Mommers, great to see you. That we know that Dianetics is going to be on there, come in for a free personality test. So there's all kinds of elements there. And if you give me just a second. I have captured a great deal of their propaganda. I got to kind of hold it close to my face, right? There's all kinds of information, right, that they're going to pass out. And again, a Dianetics book, right, in the situation. Here we're seeing The Way to Happiness. Oops, let me do it this way. The Way to Happiness book. Something you'll see on this one, which I believe I picked this up when I was in Minneapolis. There's a person's name on this, and it was basically, this is the way you get credit for handing out this information. So again, Amy, that's great news. I would follow the people who had propaganda and were going to pass it out on the streets. And every time that they would pass out that propaganda, I would then approach the people who just received that propaganda and explain to them what they received. And I would say 99% of the time, the people gave it back to me, right? I can't remember perfectly. And again, as I'm not practiced in what I've been doing lately, right? Hey, that's Scientology. Do you know it's Scientology? Do you want that? May I have it? Thank you very much, right? That's kind of how that whole process worked all the time. The thing that I was telling, hey, Amy, I think that's great. The Literary Fest was another place where you saw Scientology continually go to the police and try to get them to drum something up on me. And that, hey, the thing that I thought was the funniest, at the Literary Fest in August of 2024, they were promoting their book Dianetics. Naturally, a book at a book festival makes perfectly good sense. Well, every time somebody would sit down, and they would also give them the free personality test. Every time somebody would sit down, I would say, that's Scientology. And they would go to the police and complain to the police that I was telling everybody their Scientology, which I thought was an incredibly fraudulent thing for them to say. Like L. Ron Hubbard would turn over in his grave to see people denying that they're a Scientologist, right? That the idea that I'm saying you're a Scientologist is a true statement, and the idea that you're refuting it should make you PTS to the organization. You should be kicked out of Scientology if you ever said I wasn't a Scientologist, right? That's your claim to fame and your identity is we're Scientology. We're here to save the world. But so they were at the Literary Fest. They tried to cause me an awful lot of problems that day. They kind of were cop shopping. You hear about judge shopping, right? You want to go find the judge that'll finally be on your side or sign a warrant, whatever that situation might be. And the same thing with the cops, right? They go cop shopping. Which cop is going to take up our banner as we talk to them? So I think it's great that they weren't back at Literary Fest. And so last year, the way that I was looking at it is we saw one book get sold and that table cost $2,000. So it was a negative return on investment for Scientology to be out there, right? And yeah, we could, right? Between the library and all of the propaganda that we have, we could send out that. Now, I gave a lot of mine to ASL when at one point when I had met him, because he would be far better served handing that information to an actual Scientologist and confronting them about what they were doing, right? As I've told you all, I'm really trying to stop people from entering. I don't think I have a great skill at getting people out in this scenario. All right, blah, blah, blah. Let's get on to what we're going to talk about here. So I'm going to now see some body routers start their daily patrol. All right. This is at 2 hours and 17 minutes. So at this point, I've been chalking, interacting with the police, and George from Clearwater had come up, so we talked to him for a little bit. But now we're going to see two people. Now, I do not know what the dark-haired woman's name is, but she has an Eastern European accent. We do know that the blonde woman's name is Olga, right? These two have, they kind of team up, and you can see they've got flyers in their hand. I think it's Drug Free America, and they've got two versions. They've got a Spanish language and an English language flyer with them right now. So they're going to go and try to hand these off to people to lure them back into, they're flirty fishing. They're trying to pull people back to the organization. So there'll be an address on the back of this. Oftentimes, when I know what Scientology is doing, I'll even show the person that Scientology gave you this flyer, but if you look at this flyer, there's nothing on here that identifies Scientology, right? So they're so ashamed of their association as Scientologists, they won't even tell you they're Scientologists on their propaganda. Okay, but here we're going to see these two are heading out to do their...
Can I get a handout? Can we get some?
Almost always, if there is somebody else at the org, and today you're going to see several people. So we see Korn right there, we see George right there, we see Free Zuni Project. Who else?
I think they're going to body route. So
we see Never In.
I'm going to see if I can.
And if there are people that can stay at the organization, I'm going to follow the body routers to flirt.
I'm going to be back. I'm sure they're going to start handing out, so I'm just going to give them a respectful distance, and I'm going to let people know that what they're getting. Great. But I promise to be back to talk about it.
So I've just told everybody, hey guys, you're in charge here. I'm gonna move on, right? You're going to see this happens a lot, but I'm going to show you at
Audi TCD.
I've already captured a lot of flyers.
Remember, I'm keeping a very respectful distance.
If you see, the two of them have just left these 4 Hispanic speakers. I think we're going to find out that they're from Venezuela. And as I approach...
English or Spanish?
I'm from Venezuela.
So, es una secta.
No English, español.
Es una secta.
So nobody here can understand what I'm saying, and I don't speak Spanish. All I know is that es una secta is close to or an approximation of it is a cult, right? Eventually, what I end up doing is I get my other phone out and I bring up Google Translator and I put down what they are, and their reaction is precious.
Bad. They lie. Okay. Es una secta. That's all you need. Es una secta. Yes.
They still don't know what I'm saying, right?
Let's see here.
So I'm typing it in.
Folks, I might lose you for a second. Let me go on here.
I'm just hiding this not
Spanish?
to show phones.
Español. Spanish.
They fully understand what I was able to use Google Translate, and they fully understand what I said now. So, drogas.
Yeah. They gave me their flyers back. So the four of them all gave me the flyers back. And I would say this was a consistent reaction, right? If I was able to inform the people as to what they were receiving, they wanted nothing to do with that, right? At this point, the body routers go back to the organization. Every once in a while, they try and come out the back door, all of that fun stuff, right? That's going on. Well, that's kind of interesting in this process. At 5 hours, 19 minutes, I head back to the organization after having captured quite a bit of propaganda. And I find out that the police had just been there.
Yep. So I was going to say taping is they claim taping is defacing as well, which
No, he actually said that it was because we attached something to public property.
okay.
I said, no problem, pick it up. And he said, and this is all fine. He made a point of saying
Cool.
that.
Same officer. Oh, is he inside right now or?
No, yeah, he was
Oh, this is Dolan. Yeah.
Dolan.
So Dolan was the officer that came back, and he said you can't attach things to public property, right? And you had to take these signs down. So all the people are going to start taking the signs down again. I still think that it's an invalid attempt to thwart free speech. But again, it's something that would have to be litigated, and you'd have to find the precedent on it. So somebody needs to get the ticket, and somebody needs to go to court and defend the ticket in order for us to be able to say, shut up and get out of here the next time the cops show up, right? By the way, this happened within 5 minutes of them putting the sign up. So earlier, when I was first chalking, we saw the cops show up in 5 minutes. Here, we've seen the cops show up in 5 minutes. As we move on, I'm going to show you when a Scientologist approaches me. I did a full video on this interaction from several angles because we had a lot of angles on this, but I don't know if you recognize this, but this was the woman on the right earlier. She's the dark-haired Eastern European speaker, and she has come up to me, and I'm going to tell you that she was sent out by certain people armed with a recording because she can't speak English and she knows I can't speak whatever Eastern European language she's speaking. So somebody has given her a recording to, well, I'll let this play first and then we'll see what happens.
Are you following me today? Yes?
Yeah. They are.
So what you're hearing is a recording saying that stalking is an offense of such and such, and if you do this, it's stalking type thing. So again, she has no idea what the hell stalking is. So somebody inside that organization has found a recording and given her the recording to bring out to me and say, hey, you were following me today, you were doing this. And it's like, yeah, I was following the propaganda, and I'm allowed to follow you whatever I want to in this regard. And you were given free right and free permission to spout your propaganda. And I was given free right to help inform people as to what was going on. But the other thing that you won't see here, but you'll see from the other videos that were on this, she's got her phone right in my face, right? Yes, Ludmilla. Thanks, Amy. She's got her phone right in my face. And if we recall from earlier, that is what Officer or Sergeant Lieutenant Makarsky said was the illegal act, right? That I had every right to defend myself. I could have pushed her at that point in time. Now, I will tell you that I wouldn't push her for a couple of reasons. One, stupid old man. And I don't like the idea of saying, hey, great, let's push women around. I think that's a really bad look for what's going on. I think it's a bad look for the movement that I'm trying to be a part of. And at the end of the day, I just don't want the heat. And I know that Scientology will turn it around on me somehow. So it's not, there's nothing that I'm going to win from this particular situation. But that same thing that the officer was adamant about proposing to me earlier in the day, that you can't just stuff your phone in somebody's face. That's wrong, right? And it's happened to me. So I called the police, right? I called the police, and police don't show up for 90 minutes, right? But before the police show up, it's funny, this woman gets handled. And I can't remember, there's, I can't remember what the term is, but when you use your body to, you can route somebody using words, and you can route somebody using physicality or your hands. You can direct them, a hand on the shoulder, a hand on the small of the back to direct them in some way, shape, or form. Now we're going to see that another Scientologist has come out to rescue this woman who is assaulting me.
Up, we're going to see her get a candle away.
Yeah, take your fucking drones
you-
and get the fuck out.
Are you
We
fleeing
do
the police?
not want you.
Are you
We
fleeing the
hate
police?
you.
Are you fleeing the
Fuck
police?
off, Scientology.
So I've already called the police, and I'm asking her, are you fleeing the police? Because when they called the police, I was there right away. Thank you, DTS. It's great. It's great seeing you. And again, I'm going to come out and I'm going to see you out there on the streets in Clearwater. If anybody's not following her, please follow Definite Trouble Source. So one thing is, the person that you're hearing yell right now, she is a student who was traumatized by Scientology moving in. She lived in the building next door. She is a Columbia College student. She lived in the building next door. She has ADS, physical disabilities. That doesn't sound right. I think maybe it is disability, and I apologize. I'm not trying to use derogatory terms, but she couldn't get back to her home the day that Scientology opened, and Scientology illegally closed down the sidewalks, disallowing her to get to her home. So yeah, she's a little bit harmed by this organization, and rightfully so. She's feeling terrible, or she's expressing her opinion. What I'm now asking this woman, are you fleeing the police? Because the police have been called on her. The police haven't showed up, right? Because I'm not the Church of Scientology, so they're not going to show up in 5 minutes. It turns out they don't show up for about 90 minutes. And when they do show up, they look at the video, they see, and there were 3 of us that had video. They looked at 3 different videos and saw that she was sticking her hand in my face and said, oh yeah, she's not doing anything wrong. To which I said, oh, so now whenever we're putting cameras in the face of people, you're not going to come out for that either, right? So, all right, folks, I've had you on for an hour. I appreciate you all being here. I really do dislike that I'm not near an organization where I can disrupt their tactics. But yeah, I'm going to see if I can do a little bit more reminding from the desk and showing up when I can. This past week, I was out in California. Oh, Peter, great to see you. I haven't seen you forever. This past week, I was out in California. If you haven't seen those lives, please go ahead and look at those. So we were at the Santa Ana org, which is also called Church of Scientology, Orange County. We did have an interaction with somebody, and they actually responded. So I had asked somebody, hey, Bridge, I had asked somebody, tell me something positive about the church. And they, it's the simple, large platitude of, oh, it's saved my life. It's done everything for my life, right? And what I was surprised by, and again, because I haven't been doing this regularly, I didn't have my correct patter. I didn't have my correct responses. I didn't know how to refute what he was saying. And I felt foolish about that. But the idea that they responded to me was like shocking. I was taken aback. You'll also see that while they didn't close the blinds, they definitely closed the doors, and you could see that they would route people away from me. So as they were trying to bring people out of the organization, if I caught them at doorway 1, they would send them back to doorway 2, or they would send them out the back. So just status quo or standard operating procedure for Scientology is to avoid, right? And if you read anything about one of the lowest level classes that you take, Hubbard Communications, it's confront and shatter, right? That you should have the ability to come up to somebody, confront and shatter make them move away from you and convert them to your opinion and your thinking in that regard. So I think that what's best is, and if there's any questions, go ahead and ask them. If there's any ideas you have for me for future videos, are there videos that you would like me to review? There's a pretty sizable library back there. Let me know what you'd like to revisit, and we'll go through that. And then I'll also, as I work through consulting, I'm traveling all over the country. So sometimes I'm back in Chicago. Sometimes I'll be at other organizations, and I'll be able to see what we can do in regards to preventing Scientology from growing. All right. With that, I definitely appreciate everybody being here. Thanks for the comments. Please like and subscribe. If you're on the replay and you played this far, wow. But let me know, like, subscribe, and I will leave it there. I appreciate you all being here.